Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video we're going to talk start collecting Warhammer 40,000, and today we're going to take a look at the combat patrol for the Grey Knights. Now in this video we're going to go through all the contents of the box set, talk about how these units can be built, and talk about what units they can create, and then take a look at some other units after this we can use to expand upon this initial box set. We'll then finally finish off the video with a little sample army list of 1,000 points for you to use, hopefully as some inspiration for starting your own Grey Knights force in Warhammer 40k 10th edition using the Combat Patrol box set here. And so, to start with, we have our character in the box set, and this is the Brotherhood Librarian. A Librarian in Terminator armor, so you have that nice 2+ save and toughness 5. You've also got the deep strike ability as core. A lot of your Grey Knights will have this. Sanctic Hood means this model will have a Feel No Pain 4+ against any psychic attacks. And he's got the Vortex of Doom psychic power, where in your shooting phase you can select an enemy unit within 18 inch and roll a dice. On a 1, Psycho suffers D6 mortal wounds. On a 2 to 5, the enemy unit suffers 2d3 mortal wounds, and on a 6, the enemy unit suffers 2d6 mortal wounds. Really high risk, high reward. You know, d6 wounds has the potential to outright kill you on a 1 in 3 chance because you only have 5 wounds, or you could potentially do 2d6 wounds and, you know, do some really serious damage to an enemy unit. Now you do have one option on this, and that is between your Storm Bolter and indeed your Combi Weapon. I really do think the Combi Weapon is probably my way to go. The Storm Bolter is nice, but anti-infantry 4+ plus devastating wounds and still getting rapid fire 1 instead of rapid fire 2, I think you've definitely got something going for you with that weaponry. Now, joining this model to units, we have a couple of options. We can either put them in Brotherhood Terminator squads or Paladin squads, the two different options of Terminators we can build with the Grey Knights. Now, speaking of the Brotherhood Terminators, we get a unit of them, 5 models in this that we can take. Now, you can have a heavy weapon in the unit for every 5 models in the unit. This could be an incinerator, which is effectively a style of flamer with torrents, d6 attacks, but it is strength 6 -1 AP, so that's a little bit more powerful. You've got the Silencer as well, which is a sustained hits 1 weapon with 6 attacks, sort of like a big assault cannon, and a Psy Cannon, which is probably the way to go. I think with a lot of it, you're going to be struggling for anti-armor a lot in your Grey Knights, so taking Psy Cannons wherever you can get them to get some extra punch with the nice strength 8 -1 AP damage 2, I think is a pretty good shout. Now, they do have the Hammerhand Psychic Power, where each time a model in this unit makes a charge move until the end of the turn, melee weapons equipped by models in this unit will have lethal hits. And you can also take an Ancient Banner to give +1 to your objective control, turning them into objective control 3 models. And Narthesium means you can also, in your command phase, return 1 destroyed model, excluding any characters, to the unit as well. Now, the alternate option for the build for this unit is the Paladins. Paladins are a more elite version, so you're going to have that little bit better stat. You can still build an Ancient's Banner in there to give them some extra objective control, though you don't have the option to be able to put them in a unit and give them any Narthesiums. But in the Fortitude is the psychic power you get each time an attack targets this unit. If the strength of that attack is greater than the toughness, you subtract 1 from the wound roll, which is just super solid. You can take a special weapon in the unit as well, and then 1 Paladin equipped Storm Bolter and Nemesis Force weapon can be equipped with the Ancient's Banner, and that model Storm Bolter can be replaced with one of the following. So you can get, you know, quite a bit of heavy sort of weaponry and your specialist weaponry in the unit as well, which is really nice. And so next we get 5 Grey Knights, and this can be built as a variety of different units. In fact, there are 4 different units you can build from this particular box set. First of all, we have the Strike Squad. This is a battle line unit option and pretty much standard Grey Knights. Now, we do have Sanctifying Ritual, where if you control an objective marker at the end of the turn, that objective marker will remain under your control until your opponent takes you off you. So sticky objectives, as it's referred to by a lot of people in the community, just super solid. For every 5 models in the unit as well, you can take a heavy weapon. Once again, Incinerator, Silencer, Psy Cannon. I'd almost always go that Psy Cannon for a little bit of armor penetration. Now, we've got a bunch of other units we can build out of this box set. The Purifier Squad, their big thing is they're going to get 2 of the specialist weapons in there, but they are also going to have the Sanctity of Purpose, where each time a model in this unit makes an attack, you add 1 to the hit roll if it's below starting strength, and add 1 to the wound roll if it's below half strength. You've also got a Psychic Power, which is a ranged damage attack called Purifying Flame. Anti-Infantry 2+, ignores cover. 1 attack each, but Ballistic Skill 3+, Strength 4, -1 AP, damage 1. Pretty cool at getting some damage into some infantry units. We then have the next squad for the army, which is going to be the Interceptor squad. The Interceptors have their personal teleporters where in your shooting phase after this unit's shot, if they're not within engagement range of any enemy units, they can move up to 6 inch, which is pretty cool, though they can't declare a charge after they do so. And once again, you can include a single heavy weapon in the unit as well. The last is the Purgation squad, and their big thing is they're going to be able to take up to 4 of the heavy weapons, and they also have the special rule of Astral Aim, where in your shooting phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in this unit have the indirect fire ability, provided the target of the weapon is visible to one or more other Grey Knight Psyche units, and Grey Knights have a lot of Psyche units. Now, the last kit in this is, once again, another dual kit, though this is a little bit less optional. You've got the Nemesis Dread Knight. Now, the Dread Knight is pretty nice. 13 wounds, toughness 8, and a 2+ save. Empiric Reprisal means this model is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in the turn in which it advanced or fell back. 4-up invulnerable save there as well is super nice. And you've got an option here for some different weaponry. So you can have 2 wrist-mounted weapons, which could be any of the versions of the heavy special weapons. So you've got the heavy Psy Cannon, heavy Incinerator, and the Gatling Silencer. These are effectively super powered, and the heavy Psy Cannons here are much nicer. Strength 10, damage 3, pretty solid. But then you've got the options for your weapon. You've got your Dreadfist Standard, which is 6 attacks at strength 6, minus 1 AP, damage 1. Or you've got the Nemesis Great Hammer. It does hit on 4+ compared to a 3+ of the other weaponry, but it is the only way to get that nice strength 14, minus 3 AP, damage D6 plus 1 with 5 attacks. For me, I think with the lack of big armor penetration you do have, I think this is probably the way I go. But the Nemesis Greatsword also can still be strength 10 and damage D6 and only minus 2 AP with 5 attacks and still hits on the 3+, so it's an option. But the big thing there is it's going to have a sweet profile to help with clearing with hordes as well. Today's video is brought to you by Gap Games, a fantastic retailer in Australia for a variety of different miniature war games. If you'd like to help support the channel, we have an affiliate link where by clicking on and purchasing, you'll help support the channel, but you'll also help support Gap Games, which is a fantastic servant to the community. And so, where to go next to the Grey Knights? Now, definitely, there's some places you can go next in that initial box set, buying, more Terminators, more Strike Squads, and building those alternate options, even an Alpha Nemesis Dread Knight, and building a Grand Master in it as well, which is a character variation of the kit. But we do have a couple of other options. I think the Flyers actually do have some nice potential. They're going to bring some different sort of heavy weaponry, especially helping with your anti-armor problems. So things like the Grey Knight Stormhawk Interceptor with its last cannon there, strength 10, damage D6 plus 1 with 2 shots, minus 3 AP is nice, and it can also take something like the Typhoon Missile Launcher, which has crack missiles for some more D6 damage, strength 9 weaponry. Now, it is an interceptor here, so each time this model targets a ranged attack that would attack a fly model, you get to add 1 to your hit roll. But you also do have some use in taking on, if you go with, say, the Typhoon Missile Launcher, or indeed your Twin Heavy Bolters, Twin Assault Cannons, and stuff like that on the Flyer as well, that can all help deal with infantry on the ground as well. The other option for the Flyer is the Storm Talon gunship. Now, this is a dedicated sort of strafing run fighter. Each time you target something that doesn't have Flyer, you get +1 to hit. And you can take a variety of different special weapons. You've got Typhoon Missile Launchers, Heavy Bolters, Las Cannons, Salt Cannons, and your Skyhammer Missile Launcher on there, which is an anti-fly weaponry to help it sort of be a bit more well-rounded. Another thing to look at is the different characters we can bring into the Force as well. And the first one I want to look at is the Brotherhood Champion. Now, this is a power armored Grey Knight character, one of the few there are in the Force. But you've got a couple of cool things. First of all, Ethereal Castigation. While this model is leading a unit, models in that unit have the Fights First ability, so really nice, and it can lead both Purgation and Strike Squads, which is really nice. And Martial Fury, each time this model makes a melee attack that targets a character, you can reroll the hit rolls and wound rolls, which is really nice. On top of this, his melee force weapon will also have precision, so it's really great at going in there and taking out enemy characters. The other option for a character I want to look at is going to be the Brotherhood Chaplain. This is going to give words of power, where while this model is leading a unit, each time a model in the unit makes a melee attack, you can add 1 to the wound roll. And Dread Bearing, while an enemy unit is within 6 inch of this model, they have to take a Battleshock test or a leadership test, and they'll be -1 on such test. So pretty nice. And this model can join your different Terminator squads as well. And so here we have our sample armor list for the Grey Knights using the detachment known as the Teleport Strike Force, as you would expect. Now we've got our Brotherhood Librarian there going with his combi weapon as the option and being our Warlord. For Battle Line, we've got the Brotherhood Terminator Squad, Psy Cannon as always, and then we've obviously got the Banner and the Arthesium in there, really helping keep them objective control power up and indeed keeping them alive with that Arthesium. We then have the Strike Squad with another Psy Cannon in there. And then other infantry, we've got our Purifier Squad, which we've taken with 2 Psy Cannons in there. And then we've got a Flyer. We've added in a Stormhawk Interceptor with Lastan and Typhoon Missile Launcher, probably my preferred loadout for it. This gives it good tank hunting potential, but it also means it can turn its weaponry on the ground and infantry if needed as well. Lastly, we have a Nemesis Dreadnought. As mentioned, it is that high strength of the Great Hammer that really sort of pushes that over the sword for me. 2 heavy Psy Cannons. These are still 6 shots each, so even without something like the Incinerators, I think you're still getting a good bit of anti-infantry just by sheer weight of numbers of shots and attacks this thing can put out, even without, any flamer or anti-infantry based weaponry. But if you've got some games in with your Grey Knights in Warhammer 40k 10th edition already, if you've got some ideas on how you'd build onto the initial box set in this, let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And so that is the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me, we have a Discord server for the channel, and that is linked down in the video's description. Also linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel. This is either via Patreon or YouTube members using one of our affiliate links and codes down there, like Baron of Dice, Gap Games or Mithras Games, or by supporting us directly on Patreon or YouTube members. If you'd like to do any of those, we have links for that all in the description. And as a special thank you to our Patrons and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons, Soren, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Q Dynamic, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Benjamin Swallows, Red Martin, Iron Grinch, Colorblind Magic, Grimscold and Andy C. And our YouTube members, Greenridge Gaming, Ronya, Lock Loric, The Johnny84, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, James Tillman, Disco, and John Castle. Lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork you see on the channel. Once again, everyone, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.